Hey, yo, we back at it again. You know it's your boy Ray's podcast, coming live from the beautiful downtown Dallas, live on the 9th floor of Hello Studios. Thank you for rocking with me one more time. Tune in again. Continue to stream, like, subscribe, follow all the pages. We greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Lit Vacations, Lyrically Correct, all of our sponsors. Thank you so much for all you do and contribute to Ray's podcast. Without y'all, there would be no Ray's podcast, all right? So if this is your first time listening to the show or watching the show, this is the time of the show I like to pour back into the audience. You support me, so I want to support you. Sometimes you may be going through some rough things, and this is the way I like to give back to y'all and pour back to y'all. Let's reset that day, reset that week. Hell, if we need to reset the month, let's do it right now, all right? So, just in case nobody told you today, I just want you to know that you're beautiful, you're loved, you're needed, you're alive for a reason. Hey, you're stronger than you think. Whatever the situation is you're going through, you're going to get through this. See, on my show, Ray's podcast, I'm glad that you're alive and don't give up. So when you have positive words in your mind, you hear that regularly, when tough situations come around, I promise it makes that situation go by even easier, all right? Cool. Let's get into it, all right? So let's talk to you about what we got going on today, all right? So we got a great co-host today, guest, whatever you want to call it. She has her own podcast herself. It's called the Mind Over Matter podcast. Yo, everybody give a warm Ray's podcast welcome to Miss Chasity Hooker in the building today. Welcome, Chasity. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
See, they fans, they already love you already. They love you already. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, coming in to hang out with us today on Ray's podcast. So tell me, how does it feel? Was it like being on the other side of the microphone right now?
Well, I feel the same way as anyone else would when they're a guest on someone's podcast, and seeing this other side from my own self and having guests on my own podcast, I know the feeling now. It's exciting. It's, a brand new, refreshing feeling, just talking about yourself and, having the listeners hear my other side whenever I have someone else speaking with me too as well. So it's a pleasure, and I'm so glad for you having me.
No, thank you. Well, let's get into it. So, like I said, you have the Mind Over Matter podcast.
I do.
So, two-part question here, all right? Mm-hmm. Talk to us, what is it people are going to get when they tune in to the Mind Over Matter podcast? And most importantly, before that, how did you get the Mind Over Matter podcast started?
Sure, that's a really great question. So when you're tuning into the Mind Over Matter podcast, we are driven to strengthening mental health. I know this is something that everyone goes through, whether it's something that you're challenged with, something that you go through in life, and just even having a refreshing feeling of positivity within your life and going through that. So as you're tuning into Mind Over Matter, you are driven to a different perspective and how you can view life. I know a lot of times we tend to get the burden of like, oh, this is going on, or I'm having this challenge, or there's negativity. But with my podcast, you would learn how to transform your mindset into always having that optimistic and positive approach to just whatever you're going through, or even if there's friendships, relationships that you might think like, this is not going well for me. So how can I think in a better way to help secure and protect myself? So that way I know that I'm getting the best life possible out of myself. As far as where I got the title of and how I even started, I kind of want to get a little bit of transparency here. So mind over matter. So when you think of that, you are thinking of your mind over the situation, right? The mind over the matter. And I got that title because it connected to me in a personal way. As I'm going through and learning, and I'm in college, I have different friend groups, and they're always asking me like, Chasity, what do you think about this situation? What's the best advice you can give for me? Or how can I get through this certain chapter in my life? And I've always been that go-to person. So I was thinking like, hey, why not give this to the world of my own approach? Because it is positive, it is influencing, and there's a lot of people that do admire me, and I do, appreciate that. And so I was like, well, let's try to give, the world a chance to listen to me and what I have to say too as well. So with that, I kind of got the motivation through the death of my grandfather. Rest in peace. He died in 2020. And there's something that he always told me was, when you go into a room, stand up tall with your shoulders straight and walk with a purpose in life. So with that, I want to be that role model, walking with a purpose in my life, influencing others that, you have your mind that controls 90% of your body in your day. 10% just comes from the action that you put into it. So that's kind of something that I want to find important for others to realize and to hone in when it comes to their own personal views. Mm-hmm.
Facts. That's a major gem right there she just dropped on y'all. So, you know where we are in the world, year 2023, podcasts, they're kind of oversaturated now. You kind of say, was there ever any hesitation for you to start a podcast? Because, you turn around, every other day there's a new podcast popping up. There's a new podcast popping up. Now you have everyone that's, experts on everything.
Right.
Was that any kind of hindrance for you, like in your mindset? Do I really want to do this because so many people are doing this? Talk to me about that.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. When I was starting this, I was like in my own mind, honestly, I was thinking to myself, no one's going to listen to this. Like, you usually see like things that are video, YouTube, things that are entertaining. We have TikTok. And so when do you ever have time to just sit down and listen to something? Yeah. That was my first initial viewpoint whenever starting it. But I was like, well, no, because you gear it to your certain audience, because there's people that do listen to podcasts. There's people that do want to listen to something before they go to bed at night, or something that's calming. And so I think as you're approaching wanting to do something, this also has to be your passion, because regardless, no one can take that away from you. Yeah. So as you are, in myself too as well, I was thinking okay, this is something I want to do. I'm probably not too comfortable being, on camera and filming, and that's fine. I'm not there yet, but I know that my audio, the way I talk, the way I speak, someone's going to listen, they're going to appreciate it. And you have to do it for those certain crowd of people, because it can help save their life, or it can help them change life in a better way. So most definitely.
And that's really important. If you feel like you can do something that's going to benefit someone in a positive way, I encourage you to do that. Also, you said, you have to crawl before you walk. That's what we started. We started on the audio before we moved to video, right. So there's levels to it. Exactly. Some people start straight on video, cool, they're learning on the fly. But, when you take time and you learn to evolve and naturally grow, I promise it's like the best thing in the world. Natural progression is better than something instant, in my personal opinion. What I heard a saying recently, and I can't remember it now. I was going to say that applies to that, so we're just going to move along because I don't want to sound stupid. We're saying something, but here someone did say this. God gives you a slow yes. The devil will give you an instant yes.
Exactly.
God will say no,
until you're ready.
Until you're ready for that yes. So people want instant gratification in this world. We live in a world full of instant gratification. So sometimes, it's like, back in the day when your grandma used to cook grits or oatmeal, you gotta simmer, let it cook slow before it's ready.
Exactly. Build that character development in the right situation whenever you're ready, and God sees that you're ready. That's very important.
That's facts. That's facts. Okay. So not only, you have the Mind Over Matter podcast, you're in the medical field. Talk to us about that.
Yes, certainly. So currently right now I am in nursing school, taking on my last year. But I've been in medical, working, externship, since I was 18, since I graduated high school. This is something that I've always wanted to pursue ever since I was little. I found my way, I did my research, landed myself into somewhere that best fit me. Healthcare is very broad. You can find yourself in any place. Even if you don't like dealing with all the surgical things and needles and things like that, there's always a place for you. I'm a very caring and compassionate person. I've always had the heart for going the extra mile for someone, changing lives, and being that difference in someone's life. For me, this has always been something I've always wanted to do, and just having the opportunity to put smiles on people's face and being that different someone that they can say, hey, there are kind people in this world that want to better you and help you and even save your life too as well. As you're going through healthcare, I've noticed that it's a community. It's a village, because not only are you dealing with a patient, but you're also dealing with the family members and the friends that go along with them. So as I'm approaching this in my job, my career in school, I know that I'm making a difference in not just one person's life, but the lives that come with them too as well. And that's something that has always been in my heart and my goal, because healthcare is changing, it's revolving, and you have to be that different, authentic change as you're approaching that, and have a good heart, because that's also what it takes to, not just for the money, not just for, oh, this opportunity I'm getting, but you also have to have your heart put into that, because it's going to make or break you. You're going to have good and bad days, but as long as you know that I'm doing this for myself, doing this for the people that I'm changing, you're always going to wake up with a smile on your face and say, hey, this is something that I'm doing for myself in my life, and I'm changing the lives of other people through that. So with that, I'm not stopping there. Of course, we're always going to go higher. So I plan on being a provider through at the end of this in my life, and taking off from there, whether it's traveling, whether it's opening my own clinic or business, and just changing lives continuously through there, because it only starts with one. So you start with one, you change and make a difference, and the whole world is happy. So
facts. I like that. So quick question. Is there anything from either one of the things you do, podcasting and being in the medical field, that you apply to one or the other? Like anything you've learned in the medical field that you've applied to your podcast, or anything you learn from your podcast, you talk about on your podcast, you apply to your work life?
As far as anything I'm applying, it would mainly be more so of how to approach, or different ideas or topics that I could take from to talk about. Whether that's, I see a lot of like situations or something that's saturated in this particular topic, then I think of and put that in my podcast of something generalized, so that way I can speak on. I try not to minorize one idea. I try to get like a broad spectrum and then put it all together and come with something like that. Just because I'm always thinking of different things to speak on, talk about something that I see that's common going on in society. And so that's how I kind of connect the two. Just for being with different groups of people, because in healthcare you do see a lot of different people, different views coming from different backgrounds and cultures. So that would be the only connection that I put to, is just to kind of, see what's different in life and kind of put that together for my podcast. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So how many episodes you got so far?
So I currently have 3 seasons. So in each episode, I try to keep the episode grouping to 10 to 12. So as of right now, I have 48 episodes streaming on mainly Spotify. That's where I get majority of my audience. And
Shout
then
out to Spotify, by the way.
Yes, we love Spotify.
Yes.
And they're changing and revolving, making it so easier for all of us. And I have just expanded to Amazon Music and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio. So we are currently expanding, but Spotify is my main outreach group for where my podcast is at. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you some pointers off the air. We're gonna talk about some stuff off the air. I'm gonna give you some real tools that'll be beneficial to you. We're gonna talk about that off air. All right. Okay. So when you're sitting down, like for me too. Like sometimes I'm randomly like, what, that'd be a good question to ask someone. Do you ever jot down yourself randomly, oh, that's a good question, or that's a good topic to talk about? Do you ever just do that, just take a note real quick?
Yes, right in my phone. You can look at my notes. When I'm just driving or I'm just like somewhere and I'm like, okay, that's something that's really good, I just type it in my notes on my phone. Like, okay, we'll get to that in a little bit. But yes, I'm always constantly thinking, revolving on topics, questions, just ideas, or like, okay, that's something I can keep in mind. So that's always a revolving door. Mm-hmm.
I've had to pull over like immediately, been on the freeway, like, yo, I gotta write this down now.
Right.
Pull out the laptop and everything, like, okay, and it just started diving. Like,
exactly.
I realized, oh man, I've been over here for an hour, like. Yeah, so it is good.
Yes.
Sometimes like when you're creative, you gotta just strike. You have to just strike. All right. All right, cool. So for those of you who, watch and listen to us regularly, or this is your first time listening to Ray Ray's podcast, we have this segment. It's called Slow Down. I just want to get to know you. Slow down. We just want to get to know you. This is where we ask you some random questions. It could be about pop culture, or just random, or whatever. We don't know where we're going to go. We're just going to get there. Are you cool with that?
Yes,
I
am.
All right. So I got to mention that the Slow Down segment is brought to you by Lyrically Correct. Lyrically Correct is the music trivia card game. They got so many different versions. If you think you're lyrically correct, go to lyricallycorrect.com, put in promo code RAYH23. Get 20% off all the copies of Lyrically Correct. Then tune in to see if Chasity is lyrically correct, as we play Lyrically Correct for her, all right? Cool. So before we move forward, at this point, I want you to tell people, where they can find you on social media, find the podcast, or if you want people to check you out at.
Sure. Okay, so I'm currently on Instagram, Chasity Denise with 2 E's at the end. You can also find my podcast. So there I have a link tree with all the links as well. But with my podcast, you can find me on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and now iHeartRadio. So those are a little bit of my social medias there. We're starting off strong and small, but we're getting there. So
Okay. So if you had to pick a song right now that best describes your life, what would it be?
That's a good question. Let me think. I would have to choose, and it's gospel because, I put God first, but it's a song called Goodness of God by CC Winans.
Okay.
That's my song. Yep.
Okay. Shout CC and BB. I was a church kid too. I know they are. She probably didn't think I knew that. Oh, you don't know these people. Yeah, I know church people. I was a drummer. They say the drummers were the worst kids too. So there you go with that one. All right. Awesome. So, you have your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5 people you would love to interview.
Ooh, that's a good one. If I could interview the top 5 people in this world, like a dream. Lori Harvey, number 1. Yes, Lori Harvey. And Kris Jenner, the mom of the Kardashians. 3rd, 50 Cent. Let's bring some men in there. 4th, I'm going to think of another guy. Wow, I've always had a dream of talking to the president.
Okay.
So, yes.
Whatever president. We just put whatever president.
Whatever, yes, at the time.
Okay.
In 5th, let's see. Let me think. That is a really good question. Only 5. Only 5. He's only giving me 5. Trying to think of all the people in this world. Let's do Kirk Franklin.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's a good one. I like that.
Kirk Franklin and Maverick City.
Okay.
All the musicians in there. Yep.
Okay. So look at that. Local, DFW guy, Kirk Franklin.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, I'm Ray. I'm the movie producer. Who do you want to star as you in your movie about Chasity?
Who do I want to star as me?
Yeah.
Like, Lori Harvey again.
Hey, I'm trying to have a hard time. I have a lot of select words from the outside looking in. It's not a good look, in my personal opinion. I'm not trying to bash nobody because I don't ever believe in bashing nobody. But from the outside looking in, it don't look quite great.
The looks wise, maybe.
Maybe that's about
She
it.
talks about, but as far as her personal life, we'll keep that separate. But
Yeah.
So business wise, there.
Okay,
Yep.
business wise.
Business wise, there. But her personal life, that's far off for me. So.
Yeah, that's She we got Future talking about you in a song. That's the meme king himself.
But that's for his own personal, for his select, for his fans.
Bro, you got Michael B. Jordan in tears, bro. Probably the nicest guy in Hollywood.
But you never
What did you
know.
do? What did you do?
But you never know what goes on,
That man was hurt. I don't know if you saw the basketball game last year. That man was hurt. Like, if you saw the video of him, he was hurt. How do you hurt Michael B. Jordan? Like, come on.
You never know what goes on behind the scenes. So she maybe had a relevant reason.
We're going to move right along because it's not about to be the Lori Harvey show right now. All right. So, if you were the ruler of your own country, what would be the first law you want to implement?
Equality for all people.
Now break that down, because everyone's definition of equality is different.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So, yes. As far as equality, of course, we all know that's, equal comparison. There's no separation. So just having everyone on one accord, no financial breakdown, no different social classes, everything the same. You do what you want to do, you make your own money, but there's no, as far as like personal views and opinions going into that. Starts off with that. And with that, that comes with respect, kindness, love for all people. And that's something that I stand for too. So when you have those building blocks ahead of you, then I think that'll be good for me.
See, everybody, you need to listen to that. This is rules and a guide to live by, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you a hot topic question right now.
Okay.
That's going around on the internet. So one of my favorite football players of all time, Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson, whatever you want to call him. Someone asked him a question. They asked him, what do you think about the first date costing $300? Because there's a thing going around where certain women are saying like, hey, a guy needs to spend at least $300 on the first date on me. His thoughts were absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's because if a girl needs you to spend $300 on the first date, that becomes a liability off the rip. Because what if I'm in a pinch and I can't give you $300 date, you're not going to be around. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think there should be like a certain amount of money someone should spend on the first date? Because now you have everyone that acts like they're so Hollywood and they're so rich on the internet. You got these $30,000 millionaires on social media like, oh, I got to do this, but can't even afford to take themselves to these places. What are your thoughts on that?
So I feel like there should not be like a minimum or maximum amount of money that someone must do for you, give for you, or that's what they should do for you on the first date. As far as that goes, and I'll explain that a little bit more in depth, is it's all about how you carry yourself, and the amount of respect that you withhold within yourself and your standards, because I feel as if a guy is going to see that and he's going to respect you based on the way that you carry yourself. So let's say if y'all are planning something and y'all are going all out for your first date, then whatever he feels like he needs to put in, or wherever you choose to go, if he asks you like, what would you like to do? And you say, well, I want to do this, this, and that, go with the flow, because that's your first time meeting someone. That's the first time going out with that person. So there really shouldn't be a minimum and maximum of what they should spend on you, because it's what the value that you carry for yourself. This is all about meeting someone for the first time, getting to know a person. So it's not all about the money and the materialistic things right off, because that's not important at the moment, because you never know, like you might end up going on a date with this person. You might not like what they bring to the table, or their qualities don't align with you, or you guys don't have the same values. So you have to start off the basis and foundation right there. So it shouldn't really matter about the amount of money, because you're just getting to know that person. Mm-hmm.
She just dropped a dime. She just dropped a gem of all gems for you people out there dating. The money shouldn't matter. Mm-mm. I think just, getting to know the person. Because, sometimes you can, I feel like you can pigeonhole yourself, guys. Sometimes you want to go all out, take them Nick and Sam's and stuff the first time. Well, now you're setting that standard. Like, oh, he took me. Anything less than that, some people may find that unacceptable, but you don't know who you're dealing with.
Exactly. Yeah. So when who you're dealing with, and if they see that, okay, this woman carries herself to a higher standard, then he's going to make sure he applies that pressure. If you're way out of a guy's league, then he might just be like, oh, okay, well maybe I can't do this. It's always about how you carry yourself and the standard that you withhold, because people are going to match that energy, and you want someone in your life that's going to match that and who sees that value within you, because that's going to determine how much they value along the run. So if you carry yourself and you have self-respect, then those qualities come align with it, and they all align together. So
facts. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you were a superhero, what superpower would you want?
Going back in time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So counter question to that. If you could go back in time, you had a time machine, go back to any part of time or history, which part of time would you want to go to?
Probably my high school years. Redoing that all over again, because I could have blocked a whole lot of other things to get me further and put me further until now. So probably redoing that chapter in my life again, because I'm just getting started. So if I could redo a couple of things in there, I'll be satisfied with that.
Facts. Okay. So when wrapping up I like to ask these two questions, all right? First question being, if you can give any advice to anyone, no matter what the subject is or topic, what would it be? Secondly, what do you want people to take away from an interview and podcast you're doing today?
Okay. Ooh, interesting. Okay. I'm going to start off with value, the importance of value. And that withholds a multitude of things, and I'll explain that here. When it comes to the groups, the people that you surround yourself with, you want to make sure that they value life the same way that you do as well, or likely in the same comparison. So having value with your friends groups, making sure that they see life and value life the way you do, and having and seeing the beauty of life, because when you value certain qualities in your life, you see life differently. You know, you're always pushing to move forward. You don't allow different things to distract you or keep you down. So just seeing the beauty of life and what it withholds, you're always making sure that you have a good day, have a great day. And you're getting something out of that day because you know that life is very valuable. Your time is very valuable. And so you always have a purpose to accomplish within your day to keep you from holding yourself back or not getting to the mark that you want to be. And so just the importance of value, the beauty of your life, the values within your friendships, and then valuing what you're in right now and what you're putting yourself into, because it's going to come to a point where you're going to have highs and lows with what you're doing. But as long as you are valuing that and the time spent in that, then you're going to find something out of that, whether it's a lesson learned, new opportunities, networking, and you're always going to higher achieve the best that you can possible. As far as what we could take away from this interview today is just to know that life has endless qualities, possibilities, opportunities for both of us, actually. And as long as you are sticking to the script of the purpose that you have in your life, you're always going to make it. Whether that it might not be where you want to be right now, but as long as you're making the steps and putting yourself around people that have the same qualities and values of you, you're always going to be satisfied with the outcome, to know that, hey, you're around people that want to change people's lives for the better. They're positive. They're always about, life making and changing for the whole world to see, because it all starts with us, and that's what we're here on this earth for, is to be that role model, that person that someone can depend on. So just knowing that, you're learning of other people and learning about you too, Ray, as just a person that, hey, we share the same qualities and values, and we're here to make a change in this world. So that's something that I would definitely say you can get out of this. It's just to know that there's people that you put yourself around, and when they're like-minded and they see the same vision as you, then you're guaranteed to go to the top regardless. So.
Man, hold up. She dropped a bomb on everybody, bro. Thank you so much for taking your time out to come out and be on the show. And, all the people, my listeners, make sure y'all go check her out. Mind Over Matter podcast. It is a little tongue twist there. Spotify, mainly Spotify, because they cut them checks right there. Right. Go check out the Spotify, Apple, Amazon now, iHeartRadio. Go check her out. Again, follow all of her social media pages, like and subscribe all of her pages. We greatly appreciate that. All right. So, end of the show. I start off with positive words. I got to leave you with positive words, all right? So this part, I want you to kind of get your swag on, I always say rub your hands on it like you Birdman or something like that. And so tell yourself, I will boss up physically. I will boss up mentally. I will boss up spiritually. And I will boss up financially. Invest in yourself. It's your boy Ray, Ray's podcast. Catch you next time. We out.
Hey, get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink home, let's get right. Getting paid, I'm getting paid. Roll one up, let's catch this flight. Pour another cup home, let's get right. Getting paid, I'm getting paid. Hey, get money all day, get money all night. Sip my drink home, let's get right. Getting paid, I'm getting paid.